Hello my creative peeps and welcome back to my channel. So today I thought it would be exciting for us to make another journal together. You guys really liked when I made the junk truck journal with you. Unfortunately, you never got to see part 2 of that video because my file got lost and corrupted and all kinds of other weird things. So take 2. Obviously, we are not making that. Today's journal, I thought it would be fun to make one out of the vintage cookbook packs that I have in my Etsy shop right now. I was hoping to make one before the release, but it didn't happen, so we're going to make one together now. And it's cool because you can buy one and make one too if you wanted, along with me, which would be really fun, I think, anyway. So just a quick show and tell for those of you that didn't watch the Etsy release video. It comes with the recycled insert cover. So this is an A5 size. You could cut it down to whatever size you wanted, or you can totally not use it, whatever floats your boat. There are signature pages. So there are 2 from this 1950s cookbook. There are 2 small ones from the 1960s cookbook, and these are super cute. I love the illustrations and stuff in these, and the colors. So, and then there are 10 pages from a 1940s Good Housekeeping book, cookbook. So all of them are different. I just picked out a random one. I think this was actually the one I showed in the release video. So I'm going to use those. And then there's 3 vintage recipe cards, 3 blank recipe cards, and 5 crockpot recipe cards. These aren't vintage, but they're still cool and to include in there. So it is thundering outside. Can you hear that? So I'm going to pull a bunch of papers and stuff out of my stash and we'll make a journal together. This video will probably be multiple parts, but I'm hoping to have all the parts this time. So I'll leave the listing for this in my Etsy shop linked below if you'd like to check that out. Otherwise, grab your journal or whatever and let's make a journal. Here we go. So off camera, I just collected a bunch of things that I thought I wanted to use in this journal. I had bought this piece of paper with this project in mind, the paper with the blue flowers on it. It's just a single sheet that I found at Hobby Lobby, but I thought it was perfect for this. So I also went through and grabbed out a bunch of other pieces of scrapbook paper that I thought went well with the vibe I was going for. I don't have a lot of like vintage kitchen theme stuff, but I found some kind of florals with the same tones as some of the images on the vintage papers, and then like some wood grain stuff. So I thought that all worked nicely. I took the cover base that comes in the kit, and all I did was double-sided tape and a little bit of glue and stuck it on there, and ta-da! Sometimes this can cause a little bit of wrinkling, or it gets a little funky if you don't kind of fold it the right way while you're like putting the paper on. So just be aware that it might not be perfect if you use my technique, is basically all I'm trying to say. So then I decided that for the inside, I wanted to use one of the Good Housekeeping cookbook pages. So I just tore it in half, and then I realized that there would be that little bit on the spine there that would have been blank. So I went in my scrap bin and just found like a piece of neutral paper that looked vintagey. This is, like I said, just a scrap, and I put it there to be my little center decoration there. And then again, same technique, double-sided tape, and glue and stuck that on there. I did run out of space on my camera, so you didn't see all that, but it was just that one tiny step. So thank goodness that's all that, that I missed there. So what I do is I take a piece of printer paper and I cut it to the size that a page would be. And then I use it as my guide. I also keep it later for binding. If you would like to see how I make journals like with an in-depth beginner instruction type thing, I will leave my DIY journal series playlist linked above in a card so you can check that out, because I'm not going to go into like detail how to in this, but yeah, that is there for you as a resource if you so desire. So I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to make this project all in one afternoon, and I didn't want to coffee dye any papers, or tea dye them, I should say, and wait for them to dry. So I decided to use a little bit of distress ink and ink around the edges, and then I was going to put some of those like kind of ripped recipe book pages there as kind of the background. Now I finished this and I don't dislike it, but I knew right away I did not want to do that for all of the pockets. So I will do something different later, but it's a cool addition, you know, to each their own. A lot of people probably love this, but it wasn't quite the feel I was going for. So I'm just using a glue stick and smoothing it out with the old gift card to kind of adhere that there. So I will sew all the pockets off camera when I finish constructing them all. But yeah, so I'm just kind of putting things together, seeing how they look, figuring out what I want to do with pages. I decided to turn this page with the cool illustrations into two smaller kind of inserts there. So they're like mini pages. So I set those aside and wanted to leave that decorative page like that, so I set that aside. And then I folded that manila envelope I had pulled out. I love that bold folder. It has been forever since I I've never had a bone folder until now. Sorry, can't talk. And it's life-changing. I used to just use my finger, and this makes it so much easier. So I'll leave bone folder linked below if I'm not the only one who doesn't have one. You can snag yours today. I'll leave as many of the products as I can linked below that I used. If there's something you'd like to know, just leave me a comment and I'll let you know. So there you just saw me with a doily. I thought I wanted to use it. I painted it with some coffee and it smelled terrible when it dried. So I just kind of binned it after that. But it's a thought that counts. So this is the plastic sleeve that the kit comes in to hold it all together, and I thought it would be perfect as a pocket. So I took the adhesive and sealed the end and then snipped off the top, and I'm gonna bind it in the journal, and it'll be a cool clear pocket there to stick things in. Previously I had tea dyed some paper, so I grabbed a couple of those. I didn't feel super concerned with using watercolor friendly pages like I usually am this time around, because I figured if it's a recipe book, you're probably sticking recipes in it and stuff like that. If you wanted to draw, you could always draw on like a separate piece of paper and then stick it in to keep with like the collage recipe thing. But yeah. So now I'm just making the rest of the pages. I'm cut them all to the right size, and I'm using my bone folder to fold them up. And like I said, I will stitch them at the end. So I'm just kind of folding all my pages, seeing where I'm at. And this is when I decided that I was going to glue the whole page down on the background to cover up that white space for the pocket. So what I did was I just put down the sticky tape that went just below the little punch out line that I made with the circle punch there. and then I just stuck that on there, and the page widths were just about right. So I didn't have to trim too much off, but the sticky tape just allows you to rip along that bottom line. So that's what I did, and then it looks like that, which I loved the look of. So just comparing the first one I did to that one there, and I decided to go with this method. So I did that for the rest of them. I love this sticky tape. A lot of people ask me where I get my double-sided tape. I will leave it linked below. I buy it on Amazon. I get 6 rolls for like 10 bucks, and it's freaking amazing. It's like the best deal ever. I've ordered it from there multiple times, and I've never seen it like have a crazy price jump or anything, and I've never had a problem with it giving out and not sticking. So that will be linked below if you would like to capitalize on that discount, because it's just awesome. So I was just showing you there that I had sewed all the pockets together, and I decided to add this one lined page. Don't ask me why, I have no idea. I just wanted to throw it in there. And now I'm going to stack my pages together. Now again, I have a video going in depth into how I do this and decide where each page goes and stuff like that in my DIY journal series. So that playlist is in the card. If you don't know what a card is, it's that little eye that pops up at the top of the screen. You can just click on it and it'll show you the videos and playlists that I have linked for you. So I put all my pages together. I'm just flipping through to make sure I like how it looks, and then I'm putting it in the insert, making sure nothing's hanging out, and then I'm going to binder clip it in place and get ready to bind this baby all up. Binding is, I don't know, binding is one of my favorite parts, just because when you're done, it goes from like just some papers to like a book. It's just like, bam, done. So I'm taking my white page, my white printer page that I had cut to the sides of my pages, and then I'm marking out where I want the holes and measuring it out and all that fun stuff. And then I poked my holes, and I'm going to sew this bad boy up using my classic 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Nothing too crazy there. Just my usual. I did have like a giant problem with that, like I couldn't get the needle in the hole. Like I don't know what it was, but it was not going in. It was like going in all crooked, and it was driving me freaking crazy. I was like, it's just because I'm filming. It's just because you're filming, Leanne. Like, it's fine. But it took me forever to get it through that hole correctly. But we were successful in the end, and that's all that really matters, right? We got her done. We got her done. So just finishing that up, and I'm gonna tie it off. Oh, I did 5 holes, not 3. Can't count. But the 5 holes are good because it makes the binding more secure. So there we go. We're all done. Just flipping through to look at it, because like I said, this is my favorite part because it's when it becomes an actual book. And then I'm going to take the recipe cards from the kit and put them in the pockets. And then I pulled out some index cards from my stash and tucked those in as well, because I thought they'd be cool to use as recipe cards. They have like alternating colored lines, which I think is really cool. And then I wanted just a tie closure, so I took 2 scraps of fabric that I got in a recent purchase. I think they were like old bed sheets or something, but I just love the tactile feel. I thought they were really cool. So I tied them together and made a little like tie closure. And then I had extra pages and some extra index cards that I just kind of tucked in the back there for the recipient of this journal to use in the using of it. Alright, so this is the finished insert that we ended up with. I really like it. It's kind of chunky and it feels worn and used. I love the blue paper and this like tactile vintage sheet scrap closure. It's just so cool. It really gives it that vintage cookbook vibe, I think. So this ended up having 28 pages, so 56 sides and 13 pockets. And it's an A5 insert, so it could fit in a traveler's notebook if you wanted it to. So we open it up. We have the Good Housekeeping table for cooking, market or garden vegetables. It's just so, I love that as the cover. So we have a little plastic pocket here, and I figured that would be great to store like recipe clippings or like things you want to make for the week or stuff you need to document in there, whatever. And then we have the decorative page, tea dye paper, this cool little leaf pocket with, of course, you know, your cards in it. More tea dye paper, the little lined paper. So I just thought this would be super fun to keep recipes in, or just maybe you're a foodie or travel or just to journal in general and you really like food. Who knows? But this will be for sale in my Etsy shop. You can get both the kit, obviously, to make your own, and this insert that I made will be listed. It will go live when this video goes live, so you can check to see if it is there if you're interested. So in the back here, I just have a bunch of extra index cards, some colored ones, and then the extra vintage pages and some vintage Sears and Roebuck catalog pages from the early like 1900s. They are super fragile but would make really cool collages. There's like pots and pans and a stove and stuff. So yeah, I think that it's just so cool. I love it. And then I wasn't sure if I wanted to put this label here or not, like on the cover. I think it looks cool, but I don't know. So maybe I'll send the label along with the journal. But that is the insert that I created with the little vintage cookbook kit in my Etsy shop. I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of make a journal along with me series. I'm so glad I did not lose any of the footage for this one. Apologies still about the last one. That was just crazy. So please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Let me know below if you would like me to do more of these, and I can put it on the request list. I always like showing you what you guys want to see. So anyway, please hit the red subscribe button if you have not already. I would love for you to stick around and join my creative community. And until next time, guys, take care. Bye-bye.